Would say, and I think that the pressure is on a little bit. These guys on AI know that this is really kind of their redemption shot, especially for Chapo and Xenotronics, but more so the team as a whole just wants to prove that they know what they're doing when it comes to picking up a new roster. A lot of people don't really have a whole lot of faith. They're saying rip AI, rip old Eager, these guys are out, there's no shot at Valencia, but I think that some people might be giving them a little bit too much flack, and the possibilities are kind of endless here when it comes to this new draft.
I mean, we'll see. You're definitely going to feel the loss of Zapman. That's a really big deal, but we've spoken a lot about AI. Team Allegiance, Neil Ma locks in the Fafnir. ALG looked fantastic, not last set, the set before last set. They looked like they were a top-tier team, and then last set, they dropped 2 to Noble. So the pressure's on AI because they have a new roster, but the pressure's on ALG to prove which one was the fluke, the good week or the bad week.
I think that there's really just a lot of different kind of opportunities that both of these teams are looking for. And there is the classic Nemesis lock-in selection for Allegiance. I think that quite a lot of people have been waiting a very long time to see Weekend finally break it out.
And for good reason. We saw a number of different players play it yesterday in Europe, and just very strong character. One, not only does she counteract a lot of what a lot of the tank meta that we see. Bracer kind of hurts her, but then she's going to use it as well. Paired up with the Fafnir and Bologna, we're going to see a very high objective clearing team, and ALG should have a lot of lockdown around those areas.
I also really like the choice to select the Nemesis and go for the Bologna and Fafnir because they have a lot of frontline potential already between the Fafnir and the Bologna, which means that AI is going to have to be a little bit more careful with their draft, considering that the burst potential is already there for Allegiance.
With Geb, Susano, and Ho Yi, very different side of things. You're talking about burst on the side of ALG. I would say burst, more lockdown for me with the Susano and the Ho Yi.
I could see that, but I like the setup potential, and the Scylla, I think, is an excellent complement to the Susano. There's perfect setup there, really easy combination to get going, and plus, it's the best on Scylla at that.
Yeah, I mean, the best is still the mid laner for Team AI. They're going to be able to really just follow him into wherever he wants to go, and we say it every time. One good ultimate out of Scylla can change a team fight, and thus the game. Team Allegiance mid laner, Agni. This is a character that we've seen on and off, and I think he offers a lot of control. I love this character.
I think that it'll be a fair matchup as well because Agni and Scylla can both have a little bit of a questionable early game. Agni might have the slight advantage there, but paired alongside the Nemesis, this will be a fairly even matchup between the Susano and Scylla if they opt to start that way. Yeah,
I'm not sure. I'll say I'm not sure if we see Agni if Scylla's not selected there, but Agni will be the choice, and I think it'll bode well for ALG. I think this type of mid laner really works with what they want to do. Hercules, the final selection. That'll be Divios over there on Team AI. He loves his character. He's not going to die, so we'll see how it works out. AI, formerly Eager, versus ALG.
And I think that both of these teams have drafted fairly solid compositions, and they both seem to have gotten what they're looking for. I think that's the most important part. Xenotronics was formerly an ADC main, and he's been chilling on that for a while in comparison to when he swapped over to mid lane for a bit with his stint on Luminosity and stuff. But I think that Hu Yi was actually one of the staple picks for him back when he was so accustomed to just maining ADC all the time.
The best going to be able to get the first shot out here. We can have met Yankee joining up in the mid lane, whereas Best's jungler was actually starting in the jungle and clearing out the speed buff, so that should Allegiance find some extra push, there's nothing to actually invade on. Weekend and Met Yankee opt to just go and play it safe instead, though. A little bit different than what we've normally seen. A lot of hyper-aggression, early level 1 invades.
I like the choice just because against the Bologna, you can never really go wrong with securing your own jungle. There's so many different opportunities. Cyclone Spin loves that early aggression anyway, so just helping clear with Divios, I think, is the best way to go.
Yeah, we've seen a number of teams try this start where they start in the jungle, and I like that a lot. You know, it's funny. I remember seeing some community posts like, why did the jungle actually start the jungle? And I mean, you totally can. In fact, it's a high-level strategy. So the jungler, starting in the jungle right there for Team AI, making sure that they don't get invaded on. That's the meta answering the meta. The meta is always about invades. Well, now I'm going to take my stuff so there's nothing to invade.
I mean, it was a similar response on the dual lane side. Xenotronics and Aurora just went to secure their own buffs pick up the purple and red, and it was the same thing from Oceans and Neilma.
Yep.
So these sides were, I think that Medusa and Fafnir definitely gets the early lane clear aggression, but it's evident that these guys aren't looking to try and duke this out super early on.
You say as Neilma jumps onto Xeno. You know, I like that you brought up Xeno's Ho Yi, because that's how I feel about Ocean's Medusa. When he sort of came on the scene, Medusa was not a prevalent character. Hunters were late game, either mage hunters or even Shivalanke we saw, and Ocean said, no, I'm going to play the mid-game Medusa, and he wrecked. And he had fantastic gameplay on this, and he will play Medusa, I feel, almost any opportunity you give him. So this is the meta for Ocean Man.
Yeah, he really likes those mid-tier hunters, I would say, kind of like the On Her and the Medusa. And I think that it's pretty incredible how you're able to adapt and kind of shift an entire draft around it to make it work every time.
And it's honestly just fun to watch. When it comes down to it, Ocean's on the Medusa, he's not going to look for every fight in the wave, but he's going to run these team fights. He's going to run the counter, the counter rotations. When both hunters try to join the fight in the mid lane, he's going to catch you in the jungle and hit you with that ultimate. And so that's what you want to look for at Oceans: big rotations and then bigger team fights. Chapo looking to make one of the first moves of the afternoon here. Just getting ready.
Trying to capitalize on the Cyclone. I think Cyclone might be a little bit wary, kind of under the impression that he might be getting ganked fairly soon, but he is a Bologna. Bolognas are fairly tanky, so it'll be interesting to see how much damage Chapo is going to try and put out.
I love this positioning from Chapo as well. Oh, he's going to not spot out. No, he got spotted out right there just at the corner of the eye. But so Chapo's waiting for Cyclone Spin to walk up too far and give him the opportunity for the safe gank, right? But if it doesn't come, it's all good, because Chapo is sitting in range of the minions to get golden experience. So he can wait as long as he wants because he's actually farming.
A little bit of aggression from Met Yankee, just zoning away on the Agni bombs. Wasn't even looking to try and help his team secure. Trusted that Weaken and Cyclone would be enough to drop those elementals.
Yeah, that's exactly what allows him to go ahead and get that farm for the little elemental gremlins. The zoning ults by Met Yankee, shoving Chapo out of the way. That's one of the good things that Agni brings that's similar to some of the traditional mages, is area denial. If he's tossing out bombs there or just lays down the noxious fumes, you know that you can't really walk over there because you're going to get stunned.
I love the map awareness, though, by Aurora, recognizing that the buff timers were about to come off cooldown. Hold that thought. Could be Cyclone, forced to expend his ultimate. Chapo doesn't have quite enough follow-up just yet, but forcing out the ultimate from Bologna just means that he'll probably be looking to rotate back over.
Yeah, knowing that that ultimate is not available, you can chase down Bologna so much easier. Xeno has to protect his tower just a little bit. No aggression just yet. Aurora's going to get stunned, but easy shield saves him for the moment. And Met Yankee, quite outnumbered, plays it safe.
And yeah, going back to what I was saying on Aurora's rotation there, he recognized that the buff timers were coming up and that his team wanted to try and secure their own jungle, knowing that there were 3 members of Allegiance hovering around that section. I love that he just rotated over to ensure that they could secure those buffs.
Exactly. The buffs were the #1 priority early on, but right now, Gold Fury is a priority for Allegiance. In comes Aurora looking for a cheeky steal, gets the stun. Can he find the steal? Absolutely not. Allegiance takes down the Gold Fury. Aurora trades his life. First blood on top of it. ALG easily leading by 2,000.
Kind of unfortunate that Allegiance just managed to catch AI unexpectedly. No one was even in position to try and back up Aurora from his ultimate in the follow-up.
Yeah, Aurora, and that, you know, that's, oh man. That makes me think.
I like the play by him.
So I always like that play, but the fact that he was first blood and adds 500 gold on top of that, I'm not sure.
It could be a lot worse. Personally, they could have all wiped. Chapo trying to respond now to make up for it, but Weaken's going to be able to dash away, and the speed buff is more than enough to get him out of the danger zone.
So Chapo is a player that we've seen a lot of if you've followed SMITE for a long time. He showed up in the PC League this year and is a very, very famous player in the console side of things. And he's known for hyper-aggression and for being one of these junglers that can just run a game. We're not seeing that just yet. Only 6 minutes in, but he has Susano. I kind of wanted to see this.
I want to see Susano kind of develop, but it can also be really difficult for a Susano to get in there. I mean, ALG have an excellent front line. They've got the Fafnir, they've got the Bologna, and a Nemesis is great at helping slow down some of that Susano mobility.
Cyclone Spin in some trouble. Below half. Weekend's going to respond as Aurora's here as well. Ma in the wings won't reach there in time. Aurora's going to deal with 2 players, however. And they'll be able to chase out his ultimate, but that's about it. Win for Allegiance in the jungle.
I don't think that it's poor positioning by Aurora by any means either.
No,
Allegiance just seems like they're trying to swarm him early on because this is probably the most vulnerable time period for a Geb. He doesn't really have too many protections online. He's starting to make his way into what I'm sure will be a gauntlet of Thebes, but right now with just Traveler Shoes and a Watcher's Gift, that's not near enough tankiness to deal with the Nemesis ult quite yet.
Xenotronics getting collapsed on left, right, and center. He's got to give this red buff up, but he doesn't seem to want to. Instead, just poking out Weekend. And the confidence that Xeno shows taking that fight allowed Allegiance to know that there was a rotation. Look at that. There's no blue wards over that area. It was just the fact that Xeno's fighting us. He's got to be fighting us for a reason. Let's leave. And you saw the 4-man rotation coming in.
Gotta appreciate that counter aggression by Xeno because, I mean, Allegiance could have looked to just try and all in him really quick and then get out, but I think that was the safer play to make.
I think they get collapsed on too quickly there, and like I said, that's the information of no information. If somebody's just going to stand there and box you 1v3,
you just know you're getting ganked.
Something's up. Like, something is up. So Allegiance really played intelligently there and get the hell out of Dodge. El Chapo here. Right side, still wants to gank this Bologna, hasn't had the opportunity, and just walks to the lane for the farm. Keep an eye on Weekend in the back line coming in here. Not going to toss the ultimate.
Oh.
Devios misses the kick, and Cyclone Spin. Oh, man.
Still got the ultimate, though. He might have missed the one, but he still got the ultimate from Cyclone, and that's still a win for AI.
Yeah, and what's interesting there is that was just Cyclone reacting off of the sound of the kick, expecting to, like, dodge it. He didn't even need to dodge it. It was just off the mark. But nice reaction, I guess, from Cyclone Spin. Unfortunately for him, not on the winning side of things. That cooldown a little bit longer than Driving Strike.
And Divios expending the ultimate. Always a fun decision whenever the Hercules decides to ult the waves. That's purely just to acquire the lane pressure back, give him an opportunity to choose to back off if he wants to. It looks like he's hovering around in the lane, but at the very least, he won't have to worry about Cyclone just looking for that extra poke on him in the wave.
Yankee down to below half at the moment. I love Neil Ma's positioning here. Just hidden. He's going to go back to base, right? But if Yankee got jumped on, you know that Fafnir's coming over the wall. Very careful positioning coming out from the guys on Allegiance. Somebody always seems to be ready and waiting to help their teammate.
I think that this is more in favor of AI, though, for them to have the pacing of the game slow down this much. Their composition is definitely a little bit more late game oriented, especially having the Scylla and the Geb. So I think that Allegiance might be looking to try and amp up the pressure here pretty soon because I'm certain that they're aware of the fact of just how well this draft from AI is going to prosper in the mid to late stage.
I mean, the Agni doesn't follow Scylla into the late game as well as some of the other mages, but Weekend on the Nemesis is just going to get scarier and scarier and scarier. One of the most item-dependent characters in the jungle, in my opinion. And then Neil Ma on the Fafnir as well, one of the late-game behemoths. Fafnir can do just as much damage as a solo laner when the game gets really late. So I think that AI does have an advantage come the late game, Taco, but I don't think it's 90-10. I think it is a little bit closer. But you're right. AI does want to, or Allegiance does want to make some plays earlier on. I agree.
Gold Fury has respawned, and I think that's why we see this grouping from Allegiance. They're really looking to see if they can sneak another one away from AI, but this time they're actually going to be prepared and look to prevent this from going down.
Yeah, there's no sneak this time around. Allegiance still might go for it, in all honesty. I think they are confident in their team fight. Divios and Best are here as well, however. And notice that Cyclone Spin did not make the rotation. That might have been part of the plan. Just goad everybody over to the left-hand side, allow Cyclone to have this lead and steal the buffs, but guess what? AI were a step ahead and took the buffs before they made the rotation.
But now it's going to be Allegiance pulling back onto that Gold Fury. A little bit of deja vu for Aurora. He's the only one around. The rest of his team has just started moving towards it. Gold Fury is already close to being dropped.
It goes ahead and gets reset. However, Allegiance is in trouble. Big ultimate from Aurora. Neil Ma transforms. There's Divios with the driving strike. Ocean Dancer is back. Takes down the support. Both supports down.
Best just a little bit off the mark with that crush, but Allegiance are still poked out enough to slightly deter them from this Cyclone. Trying to tank up that Gold Fury. He's taking quite a lot of poke for this, though.
Look at Weekend. Divios and the best are in great spots, and Allegiance are letting them because they have the flank coming out from the jungle Nemesis.
Oof.
Ultimate coming out from Divios. There's the knockback. Divios gets the kill, but Met Yankee martyred him. Hits him with the passive.
But Best isn't done quite yet. He just ran away, but Chapo's making his way back towards the fight. Weekend is by himself for the most part, but Chapo's going to be forced to back off because of Cyclone. But this is looking like a goal for AI, possibly.
Look at the pass. Look at the patience, excuse me, coming out from the Best. Still has the ultimate. He still has the ultimate. There was no guaranteed kill with the ultimate, and he'd rather save it for the secure on the objective. Cyclone's been close to death. There's the ultimate. That's a guaranteed kill. He finds it, but he can't.
Oof. Can't get quite close enough to make that come into play. He still has the crush, though, for this objective secure should they look for it. But now with all of Allegiance starting to come back in full health, AI are going to have to bait this one out slowly yet again.
I still really like the decision from the Best to only use that ultimate when somebody was absolutely going to die. Cyclone Spin just does a better job of getting out of there.
I don't think that he was expecting Cyclone to take as much damage as he did. Otherwise, we would have seen that ultimate coming out from him a lot sooner.
Exactly. I think everybody got surprised by the amount of damage that Cyclone went ahead and took. Met Yankee clearing out his tower here. So a lot of action on the left side of the map. Gold Fury doesn't go to anybody, however. Allegiance still have the one from earlier on and a kill above Team AI's 2. And because of that, they still have a grip on the lead, about 2,000 or just shy of it.
AI are trying to be as cognizant of the map as possible, though, because it is Allegiance who have the ward control over the Gold Fury right now. Aurora was trying to get a little bit of vision onto there, but kind of just poked out of it by Neilma. So I like the aggression that Neilma is taking in order to defend their vision on the Gold Fury.
These are two very similar support players in my mind. Neilma and Aurora are very, very aggressive, but not in the Broad Shot Show, I'm going to play Ares and kill you way. They're aggressive in the way they position themselves and they position their teams and the calls that they make, I feel are very powerful for both sides. And, you know, I want to tip my hat to AI. That exchange that we saw, not letting Allegiance get the Gold Fury and not trading out everyone in the process, that was a big boy play. That was impressive.
Bit of a break as well from Aurora, not getting stunned out by Met Yankee. Chapo are going to force him to dash away, though, in the mid lane. Just kind of poking at each other.
That's Neilma. Nobody's here. Still going to hit you with the hammer. Because I can. That's my job. Shouts to Neilma. Very happy that this guy's finally in the pro scene. He's been, or in the SPL, he's been around the high-level player pro scene for, what, 4 years now?
He's always just that guy that's like, hey, we need to support. Neilma, what you doing this weekend? That's basically been Neilma's experience at the Challengers. And Aurora, however, he's having an entirely different experience, completely burst down from that Nemesis ultimate and Met Yankee, and now it's the rest of AI trying to follow up.
Oh, Neilma, he gets pulled back in. I don't think that's the plan you want to go for. Team AI, they lose their support. Chapo's got to go back to base as well. Divios makes the rotation, but Allegiance turns their sights onto the Gold Fury. Divios is here, does have the ultimate available. That's a good steal tool. And look at this, Cyclone Spin just zoning out 2 players. Gold Fury stuck on Oceans.
And poor Divios, man, he has, like, not enough follow-up from his team just yet. Best trying to work on over to help him out. Allegiance do drop the Gold Fury, though, trying to lock down this kill on Divios, but look at that burst heal. Yeah,
fantastic use to the mitigate wounds. Wicked is gone. That's a bigger wound. Nice shot coming out from Big D right there. Over traffic, throws the ball right on top of the jungler and earns his team kill number 3.
And now it's Allegiance who needs to be on the run here. They're going to try and focus down Cyclone Spin. He's trapped. There's nowhere to go. Uses the bracer to heal back up a large amount, but just not enough peel from his team. Cyclone is going to fall to the way of Xenotronics.
You know, we used to call an Aegis use at that moment the Zapman Aegis. Listen, I know Zapman took a break. That's the Zapman bracer. Okay? When you use the relic to no avail and you die a second later.
That was a massive burst of heal, though. That was pretty nuts. I think that they might have been able to turn it, just everybody from Allegiance wasn't expecting him to survive as long as he did, so they'd already tried to escape.
I love the itemization coming out from Team AI, so I'll enter Divios real quick. So he picks up the Wrath very early on in order to help confirm his stuff, and then you see he goes into an Aegis later on. It's irrelevant what the relics are. My point is he doesn't have teleport and he has Swift Wing. This has been a strategy that I've been asking for since the item came out. It's decent. It's HP 5. Like, okay, sure. But if you kill the wave and you go back to base and run back to the lane, you're there before the wave.
You're zooming. You really are insanely fast with that Swift Wing, and a couple of solo laners have been flirting around with the notion of it. No one's really brought it to the competitive level quite yet, but I agree with you. I am very happy to see this item being utilized in the way that Divios is.
It's a confidence play, because here's the deal. Teleport allows you to cover up your mistake. When you get pushed out of lane because you took the wrong fight, when you get over-aggressive and you get ganked on, you're back to base whenever you want. With the wave coming towards your tower, you TP, 4 seconds later, you're there, you kill the wave. By going Swift Wing, you don't have that luxury, so you're just ensuring that you're never going to get poked out to that point, and you're only going to go back to base on your terms. Divios so far, 3-1-1. I think he's going back to base on his terms.
Divios has been a massive reckoning force, too, for AI. I mean, the fact that he was able to zone 4 people and make them hesitate on whether or not they should try and commit to that Gold Fury just shows that he is a fairly decent threat. And right now, it's Cyclone. Not too concerned at all about Chapo being present alongside of Divios.
Nah, Cyclone relatively tanky already with just the Mystical Mail. He and the Bracer, of course. You noted the giant burst heal. On the Warriors, it's big.
They're trying to commit this time. Oh, maybe not. No, the rest of...
You see the ward? that ward right there? Yeah, there you go.
The backside.
Xeno walked right over it, and that was the call. If Xeno doesn't make that flank, you're right. ALG do stick to it, Taco. I think you're correct.
And now I think that we're about to see the Gold Fury dance occur. This has really just come down to who gets poked out first and comes back in time.
It's been fun, though. It's been tactical. A lot of times these are really sloppy engagements. These have been really fun to watch. Divios in trouble here. Rally over there. Cyclone jumps on the left-hand side. Frenzy's popped on the right side. Divios is 1 tick away from death, but he'll make it out and save under the tower. I'm a Monster from Best does not claim a life. Divios tosses the boulder, and that's just a last-ditch effort.
Ooh.
Kick to Daniil Ma, doesn't get pushed under the tower, but still a ton of damage on Allegiance's support. All the while, ALG punishing the Gold Fury. Who's gonna take it? Still alive? Gold Fury goes to ALG.
And Met Yankee just barely able to clean that one up as Cyclone picks off the best, but Xenotronics makes quick work of him, and now it's Ocean's just trying to run him down on the backside, but instead Chapo's dying on the front from Met Yankee as he knocks out Aurora as well.
Everybody is low in this engagement. This is one of those nobody wins. ALG take the win because of the objective, but that team fight, messy in both ways. Not messy in the sense that the players are playing sloppily, just everybody gets hurt. Look at Weekend.
No.
Look at Weekend. Weekend feels too. Can he get them, though, is a different question. He's by himself trying to chase Hercules. Yeah, that's the smart play, buddy.
But they are still able to claim the T1 tower. So with the Gold Fury plus the T1 gold intact, Allegiance
and the Portal
Demon, they just siege 3 pretty big objectives for the 20-minute mark, and I think that this is the first real lead that Allegiance has been able to establish all game.
I'm going to point to something that I think is the key here. And as small as it is, I seriously think it's the key factor for Allegiance in those two and get that extended engagement. Devo gloves on Oceans. If Oceans doesn't have Devo gloves, he can't take the Gold Fury for as long as he did. He has to go back to base in between those engagements. They can't go for the Portal Demon. The objectives, the team fight, different story. Those 2 objectives brought to you by Devo gloves.
There's a risk and a reward sanction when it comes to building the Devourer's Gauntlets on an ADC, and that was the risky part, is just building it in general, because going into lane, you have to constantly be under fire pretty much. And now it's actually going to be Divios who's coming under fire of the rest of Allegiance, just
4-man
cleaned
group.
up.
Ouch. All 4 members early on. I say early on, it's 20 minutes in. Why does this game feel so much earlier, Taco?
It's because of how long they started playing it out. They played it out really slow at the start, but Allegiance are kicking it up a notch.
The dash out of Aurora's Cataclysm saves the life of a young player on Allegiance. Nice play. Aurora just winds up Cataclysming nobody. Ouch.
That's always
Met Yankee just got out of there.
Really unfortunate for AI as they're just starting to lose objectives left and right. Now in the center.
This is the Allegiance that we saw, not last set, but the set before that. Objective-minded, clear calls for what they want to do. last week against Noble. Noble got the better of them, and they looked kind of lost. Here, there's a clear game plan. Cyclone Spin jumps on in. Tier 2 tower's already gone in the mid lane. There's going to be Neoma transforming and jumping backwards. ALG just wanted the tier 2.
I think that Allegiance are recognizing the fact that AI, if this game keeps delaying, then they'll be able to fight more into the aggression that Allegiance has been placing. But if they just amp things up with that little bit of gold and experience that they're able to acquire from sieging the Gold Fury, T1, and the Portal Demon, it's incredibly difficult for AI to buy themselves enough time so that they can actually have the damage necessary to counter-engage.
It's interesting that you talk about damage. Matt Yankee sitting on top of the player damage. He has been there were 3 players that transitioned into the mid lane in North America, and he was kind of number 3. You had Andy and Baskin, and Matt Yankee wasn't doing it like the other players. But recently, on his, I want to say utility picks, the Agnis, the Isises, changes. I don't want to say utility picks because he winds up top damage with them.
I would have to agree with that. I think that he's done an excellent job as well as in expanding his god pool, but Aurora is, again, going to be aggressed on, just completely disappeared.
That's the beauty of Allegiance. Out of nowhere, they come in. Just fantastic. There's no setup. It's a surprise factor. They use that opportunity. Nice crush by Best, but it's just not going to be enough. There's the frenzy. Allegiance want to keep going. Cyclone Spin and Weaken. The longtime teammates both get a kill. Divios kicks out. Met Yankee picks him up afterwards. 4 players down. The Best, the only one alive. This Firebird is going down.
This Phoenix has no chance. And this is a completely exposed Fire Giant as well. All Allegiance have to do is just group up and make their way on over to the big man. And I don't see any contest coming out from AI. I'm not sure that even Best would want to poke his head into there trying to secure it with his ultimate.
Nah, no way. Maybe. No way.
No, he can't even get close. Cyclone's already on zone duty.
I would have, if Cyclone Spin wasn't in AI's base, I would have said maybe we'll see Best show up, but Cyclone Spin is literally pushing Aurora into the Phoenix. So that's the Cyclone Spin that we have come to know and love, and I think that this Allegiance team, I mentioned it on the desk the other day. Okay, Cyclone Spin. I mentioned it on the desk the other day that Allegiance have been a long project team. Going back when they had Maddie and Lazes, and then they slowly added different players. They're getting closer to that team that I think we could envisioned way back when.
I think that when it was originally Maddie Lass and Ankon, that was mostly like the streamer dream team.
Yeah,
that
it was a
kind
stream
of just
team
for
dream
fun.
team. Yep.
It was mostly just a for fun thing, but once it started getting more of a competitive aspect.
Listen, Weekend's a businessman, right? ALG was a newer organization, and Weekend said, look, I want to be, Weekend's a leader. I want to be the guy. I want to make my own team. So he teams up with ALG and goes, yo, we'll get the stream team, dream team together, and then we'll work towards finding a more successful unit. And because you got to have a footprint, right? And so he takes that footprint and then slowly entices people to join the squad. Taco, I think Allegiance can contend.
I think Allegiance can contend as well. I mean, this gameplay that we've seen for them has been very strong for today, and I don't think that this was really any hard mistake from AI. It was one missed team fight where Allegiance were able to secure the Gold Fury and then just capitalize off of the momentum from that. And now it's going to be Allegiance trying to close out game number 1 against AI. Ocean's big ultimate coming through. He already cleans up a roar.
And there's going to be Neoma going right into the dragon form. Left side Phoenix already toasted. 13 kills for Allegiance. Take that 14 as Ocean Man finds his 5th of the contest. 3 people playing defense for Team AI, 1 very low, and he'll have to find his way back into the base. The Titan not taking much damage just yet, but there's still a Phoenix.
Looking to clean up that last and final Phoenix, make this Titan as vulnerable as possible, and really, with Divios out for 30 seconds, I don't see the front line. And Best missing the ultimate. That is so unfortunate.
Cyclone Spin picks up Chapo. 3rd Phoenix down for the count. And here comes the Titan onslaught, Taco. This one looks like the writing's on the wall. Team AI playing some decent defense, but ALG just going for it.
ALG are just too far ahead, I think, and they're able to just fully commit out to that. You've got Met Yankee with the bombs, plenty of range and damage, and game number 1 is going to go the way